Hey, this is Joe Gilder from HomeStudioCorner.com. Have you ever thought about using a Patchbay in your studio? I have. If you don't know what a Patchbay is, you've probably seen one. It's that usually a single rack space with a bunch of rows of patch points or holes. Looks like the old telephone switchboards, right? And the point of a Patchbay is to allow you to basically have unlimited freedom in how you connect your equipment. So if you have a microphone input, you can patch that to this preamp and then go to this compressor and then go to this input on your audio interface. And so the freedom aspect of it is pretty nice. But there's a lot of cost involved. The Patchbays themselves can range from $100, couple $100 for the less expensive ones to $700-800 just for the Patchbay and a couple of cables. And then you need more cables to connect everything, and you end up wanting more Patchbays so you can connect everything and have complete freedom to connect your pedal board to your left speaker. You know, like, you can take it too far. But there is some benefit to having some sort of a Patchbay. And I've got an alternative for you. So for me, last year, or I guess it was about almost 2 years ago, when I moved into this house, I have this studio space, which is bigger than my last space. So if I wanted to put drums over in that corner, which I've done, I would probably need to string together two 20 or 30 foot cables just to reach the back of my mixer right here, right? So it's not ideal because I don't want to go buy 50, 100 foot microphone cables, 10 of them, just for a drum tracking session. It'd be nicer to be able to plug directly into something over there and then have that be feeding into the back of the mixer. So that's one thing. The second thing is it's nice to be able to not have to crawl around behind your gear to replug things every time you want to record. So I've got a couple of preamps in my rack, and like a lot of a little bit nicer preamps, there's no microphone input on the front. It's all on the back. And so if you have a rack or a desk, typically it's not easy to get back there. On mine, it's almost impossible once it's in the rack with other gear next to it to get back there and plug anything in. So for me, it was kind of going back there and replugging things in every time I want to record was not an option. I knew it would be I would end up not recording because it was too much work to get back there and do that. So for me, one solution for a long time was to simply have a microphone cable plugged in the back that just ran around to the front and was lying on the floor. And I'd pick up that mic cable, plug it into whatever I wanted to record, and I was good to go. But that's not a great, elegant solution, and it only works really if you have one mic preamp, and that's all you ever use, which is what I did for years. But now, I have several, and sometimes I want to record drums and have 15 inputs going at once between drums, keys, guitar, bass, all that stuff. So how do you pull that off without owning a Patchbay? Well, first of all, the Patchbay doesn't solve the problem of needing to reach the cables all the way across the room. And then secondly, a Patchbay is pretty expensive even before you have to buy all the cabling to make everything work. So here's my alternative to a Patchbay that I got. And I've been very happy with it, surprisingly happy with it. And here it is right here. Okay? This is just a standard Stage Snake from Proco. It's their Stage Master Series. It's got 12 microphone inputs and then 4 1/4-inch TRS returns on it. That can go both ways. So it's essentially a 16-channel snake, 12 of these, 4 of these. 4 of these, there you go, you can see those. And while this may not be, some people may criticize this isn't highest quality cabling, blah, 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 it works. To me, this is the equivalent of buying 16 50-foot mic or line cables in one box, and it costs way less to do it this way than it does to buy those individual cables. So now, from the cable length standpoint, I can plop this thing down next to the drum kit, and I can use my normal 20-foot, 30-foot cables and plug them all right in here, and then this one 50-foot snake runs all the way behind my mixer. So that's huge. That saves a ton of time and money buying things you don't need. I can keep the cables I have, and I can record something in the other room if I need to, okay? Second thing, you may have noticed, I've got some labels on there. So I've got my Eureka preamp, the ADL 600, 2 channels of those left and right, and the ADL 700. So these 4 channels on this snake are hardwired to the backs of those preamps, okay? Now, where those preamps feed on my mixer and my audio interface is up to me. I can plug them physically with another audio cable into inputs on my board. But for me, it's okay for me to leave those on the same input on my interface all the time. Because it doesn't really matter what input they go into. What matters is how I get different mics into different preamps if I want. If I'm recording a vocal on the Eureka and I want the ADL, I can just unplug and go into the next one, and boom, I'm there. And since those are already hardwired, their outputs into my interface, I just change what input I'm listening to on the track inside of my DAW, and I'm off to the races. Now the cool thing is, if I want to change, if I've got a drum tracking session and I want to change what channels my preamps are plugging into on my board, I can crawl back there, and it's like a Patchbay. The back of my mixer has a bunch of jacks, and I can pull them out and put them where I want them to go. That doesn't take nearly as much effort as crawling under my desk and unplugging when I want to just change what mic preamp I'm using with a particular microphone. Okay? So, if you're thinking about a Patchbay, you should seriously consider something like this. They make smaller ones, they make bigger ones, you can get multiple ones if you want. I even use the 1/4-inch returns to feed a headphone amp for my drummer. So it comes out of here into a headphone amp, he plugs his headphones into there, so now I don't have to worry about trying to find a 50-foot headphone cable to accommodate my drummer. So there's a lot of use out of this. I think this is a great home studio investment, especially if you're starting to record more stuff, more tracks at a time, you've got a few pieces of gear under your belt, and you're looking for a way to get flexible without going crazy. It's a good option. So thanks for watching. Hopefully that was helpful for you. I'm Joe Gilder from HomeStudioCorner.com. If you haven't checked out the website in a while, head over there. Lots of good stuff there waiting for you. A weekly video, weekly podcast, daily emails you can sign up for. Lots of fun. I hope you'll check it out. See you next week.